let me quickly let me touch here on Luigi's Mansion before I go any further, because it's not good news, my friends. It is not good news, I'm afraid, for those of you who are enjoying the Luigi's Mansion playthrough. So for those of you who watched last week's stream, you'll know I had a bunch of calamity with the memory card. I didn't save before the stream 2 weeks ago, blah blah blah. But eventually we played back up to where we got to. I found out I had a save state and all this other stuff. And so this week was scheduled to be the end of the Luigi's Mansion playthrough. Over the course of the weekend, I upgraded my Steam Deck. I improved the hard drive on it. I now have a 2 terabyte SSD, which is great, fantastic. Celebrating in the streets because now I can store lots and lots of video games on this thing. And I didn't think it would really make much difference to my emulated video games because I store all those on the SD card, not the internal memory. It's all on an SD card. So, you know, if I go over to, one of my PS2 games I'm playing here, like San Andreas, I'll load that in there and it'll, detect, my memory card and it'll load me in, and we will pick right up where we left off again because it's all on the SD card. On the upgrading of the SSD, before I physically swapped the drives, there is a process you can do to clone your old Steam Deck drive onto the new one so that you don't lose anything. So you just, I won't go into the details of the process, but basically you can just clone the contents of your Steam Deck onto your new hard drive. I did that. I thought I did it correctly. I couldn't tell you what I did wrong. Something just went wrong in the process, right? So I swapped the new SSD in. Everything was great. Booted it up. It wouldn't boot for me. I couldn't tell why. I was getting a lot of error messages. Again, I won't go into the particulars of what they were saying because I can't really remember and I didn't understand them anyway. And so I was Googling it. I was like, what the fuck have I done here? I've swapped these drives in. I've cloned them. So you can see here, this is a PS2 emulated copy of San Andreas. It is, a in-progress save game from my old hard drive. So I was having all these issues with the Steam Deck. And so I was Googling around and I was reading Reddit threads and, there was a couple of solutions. They all seemed very long-winded and not super straightforward. And so one of them was just, you could also just hit a factory reset in those error options I was getting. And I was just like, fuck it. I'll just do a factory reset and I'll reinstall all my games. I'll make my peace with it. Because as it stood, the thing wasn't working, right? So we'll quit out of this. I'm not actually playing San Andreas. I just wanted to show that is still working. So I did a factory reset. I had to manually download all my games. I had to reinstall all the emulators and stuff like that, right? And then I opened up Luigi's Mansion to test something on it. And you can imagine where this is going. I was greeted by nothing. There was no save states. There was no memory card. There was no save data of any description on the game. So you can see here we are. New game, new game, new game. And this is one of those things where I have no idea. This is really fucking weird, right? It's not just a case of, I had to wipe my Steam Deck and in the process I lost everything. I didn't lose everything. As you saw, like my San Andreas, all my PS2, like the save game I had for The Thing, which we just beat last week, is still there. So I have a completed save game for The Thing because it was on the SD card. I have no clue. I swear this is true. I literally only lost my Dolphin emulator saves, which is GameCube and Wii, right? I might try over the next few weeks when I get 20 minutes here or there on a lunch breaks, blah, blah, blah. I might try and, do some Luigi's Mansion on the side, work my way back up to where I was. It's not that long a game. We're talking, 3 or 4, especially if I don't have to deal with streaming while I'm doing it. And now that I know what all the solutions are and everything, I could probably get back up to it. I could speed run it over the course of 2 or 3 hours. And then maybe in January we can come back to it. I hate leaving things unfinished. But yes, somehow, I would love, if anyone knows, because I don't know, I'm not, me, I'm not techie, I'm not computery. It's miraculous that I managed to install this SSD without burning the house down. if anyone knows what might have caused that, I don't know, because I have every save file except for the ones. So also I lost my Mario Galaxy save file because it's the same emulator as GameCube. Wii and GameCube are the same emulator. But it's just those ones. You know, Bronson, has there been subterfuge? I knew I should have come to you straight away. I knew you'd be the culprit. Yeah, so as Mitch mentions in the chat, I mean, yeah, I was thinking, I was like, I could pull a save off of GameFAQs, which I may do, especially because Luigi's Mansion is not there's no, branching paths, player customization. There's none of that shit. So a save file I could pull from GameFAQs would probably be a nice compromise. But I just wanted to say it on air. So I may pull a save file off GameFAQs. I may play it back up in my own spare time. I may do some of this stuff. I will let you all know. I'm gonna snip this little bit of the stream archive, and I'm gonna put it on YouTube, and I'm gonna put it just in the Luigi's Mansion playlist so people know here's what happened. So I will say we will see the last boss of Luigi's Mansion and beat it someday. That's where I'm gonna leave it. But yeah, so there's your Luigi's Mansion update here at the top of the hour.